I've done more in this game than y'all probably would have given me credit for somebody that looked like me. You know, I wasn't supposed to play 13 years. Not in their eyes. I was in mine. You know, so for me walking away, no, when I've had conversations with my daughter, my oldest daughter 3 years ago, Daddy, I'm so tired of my friends thinking it's cool you play because they never realize you're never home. You know what? You're right. You know, but I said, Daddy gets to do something special that a lot of people don't, you know, that you will understand as you get older. But these are the sacrifices that a lot of athletes make that, you know, when your kids can start having those conversations with you, obviously it makes you, you know, raise an eyebrow. You know, I wasn't going to quit for my kids, but, you know, my wife and kids are always going to be involved in every decision I made.
You are now locked in for the Comeback Kings podcast. Let's go!
Don't forget, the conversation continues inside the CBK mobile app. This is the premier community for content, conversations, and resources, all built to help our Kings get back on track. Inside the app, you'll get exclusive after-show clips, direct access to podcast guests, and insider interviews with industry experts on everything from health and wealth to relationships and spirituality. You'll also unlock member-only deals designed for the needs of real men, plus tools and training to fuel your personal comeback. Come network with fellow Kings from around the world and be a part of the global movement, helping men rise from setbacks and rebuild a life that they're proud of, with purpose, strength, and community. Join the movement now. Download the free Comeback Kings mobile app at cbknetwork.com. Oh yes, Kings, we're back for another episode of the Comeback Kings podcast. I am your host, Aaron James. Today, I've got the good homie, Mr. Josh Harrison, with us. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things, life and baseball. Josh Harrison, for those of you who do not know, he is 13 years in the major leagues, an all-star. And actually, you know, what I wanted to say about him, and hopefully I'm not putting him on blast already, is Jay Hay, as I call him, has been a good friend of the family for, since 3 decades now. And I've watched him grow up. I watched him go on to have, a massive story in Major League Baseball, and such a powerful story. And I can't wait for you guys to hear it today. Jay, hey, welcome to the show, baby.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here, man. I know it's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this and been working on it. Listen, I want you to fill in all the blanks that I didn't get to about, you know, what you did in your Major League career. But first and foremost, man, what's going on in life now?
Man, God is good. Right now, retired, man. Just recently retired this past May. After 13 years playing Major League baseball for 6 different organizations. You know, so you can imagine being married with 2 kids, 2 daughters. That's pretty much all they've known is daddy playing baseball. So it's been really, really refreshing being at the house and being, you know, my schedule no longer being, you know, working out and going to hit and taking ground balls and playing baseball. Now, you know, my schedule is, all right, what school? We got dance, we got gymnastics, we got volleyball. You know, and people say, you know, I can make up for missed time. And I was like, nah, time is something you can't get back.
Right.
But what I'm doing is making the most of what I got.
Yes, sir. So daddy life, husband life.
Oh, yeah. Uber life.
Uber life. Yeah. That,
you know, that's the kids. You know?
I thought that is daddy life, right? Isn't that the same thing? Right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I've known you for what, 3+ decades now, right? Because I mean, yeah, let's not even go there because then you start talking about how old we become. But I watched you, and I remember when you were at UC and playing baseball, and I said, man, this guy's gonna make it. And you got to the major leagues and just crushed it out of the park. We were all so proud of you. I have so many questions that I want to get to today about your pro career, because honestly, you know how it is. Like when you're a pro athlete, like everybody's like, oh man, let me get an autograph for everything. And I never wanted to be that guy, not because I was hating, but just because I know you got a lot of that in your life. So some of the questions that I have, like, I really genuinely don't know the answers to, and I for sure am going to get them out of you here today, man. So hopefully you're ready to be an open book with us. But here's what I really want to know. I first want to know what it was like when you when you first got drafted? Actually, not when you first got drafted, but when you first got called up and you knew you were about to go to the show.
All right, so I can remember. I'm in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Hold on. Let's go back. What did you say?
I'm in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I'm in AAA.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember like the night before, our manager was like, "Hey, I'm gonna start playing you at shortstop. I ain't played shortstop since college." I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I done played a lot of different positions, even in my pro career. They bounced me around. So I remember that particular night, I think I go 5 for 5. Like I get 5 hits, like balled out. Come back the next day playing shortstop. I think I go like 0 for 4 with like 2 or 3 strikeouts. And right after the game, our trainer, Brian Housen goes, "Hey, Jay, hey, Dean Trainer needs to see you in the office." And I'm thinking to myself immediately, like, I ain't make no error, but I'm like, man, I did go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, but like, I ain't do nothing that warranted me being called in. Like, you know, I play hard. And, you know, everybody's got stories about when they got called up and when they get called in the office and the manager, you know, like chewing them out type stuff. And then saying, "Man, you're going to the big leagues tomorrow." Like, me and Dino was so tight. He couldn't, I think he was so excited for me that he couldn't even put on a fake front. So like, soon as I walked in, he goes, "Man, I'm not even going to BS you, man. You're going to the big leagues tomorrow." And like, I go, "What?" And this is May like 29th. I didn't go to major league camp. Like, so I don't know anybody on the major league team other than when they just brung me over for, you know, some spring training games. And I was just the extra guy sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know none of these dudes, but like at the same time, I'm like, I'm gonna be there. So like he calls me, and I remember I called my parents after every game. This is from minor leagues all the way through the major leagues. Every game, they, you know, that's who I call. And when I call my mom, she like, "You calling kind of early. Like usually, you know, I done took a shower, grabbed my food, you know, it's a process after the game." I called like 10 minutes after the game. And this is 2011. It's not that far ago, but this is when they listening to games on the internet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not really in my LBTV where you can click on a fire stick. You might look up and find a stream game, but for the most part, they listening to my games online.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes after the game, I called my mom, and she's like, "You calling kind of quick. Like, what's going on?" I was like, "Mom, I just got called up to the big leagues. I'm flying to New York to meet the team tomorrow." And she had me on speaker, and my dad was in the background. And you know my dad, anybody that's played for him, been around him, you know he's got a distinct whistle. I can't do it, but you know, he's got a whistle where he can or do this. And I hear it in the background. Like, I'm envisioning my dad throwing his head like, "Yeah." And I'm like, I got to get y'all to New York. Like, they got me flying tomorrow morning, me and one other teammate, y'all in Cincinnati. It's over Memorial Day weekend. Like, y'all got to get to New York one way or another. So team helped me book them flights. Hey, my middle brother, Sean, wasn't able to make it. Hey, my oldest brother, Vince, was still playing independent ball.
Okay.
And they were on the road like an hour outside of New York. Hey took a train to meet me and my mom them in New York. Granted, I didn't play the game that they came, but like, it was cool to be in my first big league stadium. My mom, my dad, my brother. Granted, I didn't play. Sure enough, they leave because weekend's over. They got to go. And very next game I play, I get my first hit. So they didn't get to see me play like my debut weekend, but like still the whole being called up, calling them, you know, experiencing that wave of emotions. My wife, who was we weren't engaged, and she was my girlfriend at the time. We ended up getting engaged a year later. You know, I call her, and she's going through the whole roller coaster of the minor leagues with me. She doesn't really know what she signed up for. But, you know, I'm like, "Babe, I'm going to the big leagues." She knows what it is because she's been with me in the minor leagues. But, you know, she was with me being traded from the Cubs to the Pirates in the minor. So she's been through some of the stuff and knows that at any moment things can happen. So like, just remembering all that vividly was like, yeah, I went 0 for 4, not a good game. And I got called up, and I'm calling my parents, and they're like, "Man, you calling early?" I'm like, "Well, that's because I'm going to the big leagues." And man, it's probably the most nerve-wracking flight. Put me on a little plane with them no, not from meeting the team. They put me on a little plane with the little 2 propellers, man. I'm looking out the window like, "God, please let me just make it like to my debut." Like,
I just need to make it there, please. Yeah.
But I mean, I can just remember it like it was yesterday. It was cool.
Was Mom's crying?
I mean, they was over the phone. They probably were. I know some tears of excitement, you know, joy. And me, I was just kind of like, Not that it wasn't a shock to me, but as fast as it happened, because typically if you're not a major league camp, big league camp, you're not really getting called up, unless some things happen. But, from the minute I got traded over, I kind of forced my hand. I played well. And it's like, I might not have been one of y'all original draft picks, but, one way or another, I'm gonna make notice, and happened a little sooner than they anticipated.
Hey, listen, that's what we do, right? That's what we do.
Oh.
All right, fellas, listen up. I'm about to let you in on a little secret that could save you thousands of dollars every single year. Why keep spending big money every month just to watch your favorite shows and sports, especially when there's Renegade TV? I used to pay monthly for YouTube TV, Prime, Netflix, Disney Plus, and because I couldn't catch my favorite teams locally, I had to drop even more money on NFL Sunday Tickets, NBA League Pass, MLB TV. It was sickening. Then I found Renegade TV. One device, one low price, and you get live access to every major sports league, NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC, you name it, you got it. You also get all the newest releases and thousands of movies and shows on demand. No subscriptions, no monthly fees, no hidden fees. Just one setup and you're set. So now I'm saving hundreds of dollars every month and easily thousands every single year. So go to streamrenegadetv.com and use code CBK2025 to save $50 at checkout. This is 2011, you're saying, right?
Yes.
So you had a 13-year career, and I know you said that you just retired. What we do on this show is I always love to celebrate successes of what people are doing now. And quite honestly, I forget about the career right now. The fact that you are young, and what did you say you are now?
Retired.
Retired, right? Okay. So I know there's a lot of people out there that would love to be able to say that, would love to be able to have, that kind of time with their family. That, like you said, you can't replace that, right?
Yep.
And I know the family is so glad to have you around, but I know for sure it wasn't always roses, right? I mean, it's funny. I was watching the game last night, and I realized nowadays it's much harder to be a pro athlete, I think, although I'm not a pro athlete, than it was back in the day. Because like you said, now there are more ways for people to watch you play. There are more ways for people to be able to get on Twitter or whatever and voice their opinion about what they think you should be doing or not doing, and critiquing you when you do something bad and celebrating you when you do something good. So I imagine there is a massive roller coaster of emotions and highs and lows. We talk a lot about the setbacks here. So let's talk about some of that, because I think that it's important, not just that you went through it, but clearly that you came out a better, bigger, stronger version of Jay Hay than you were originally. So take me kind of through some of the things that you feel were challenges that you went through in your 13 years.
Well, I'm gonna start with even before my 13 years. I started my senior year of high school.
Okay.
I didn't have any college offers going to my last month of high school. Played varsity as a sophomore, led the team in hitting all 3 years. I played varsity. It's at Princeton Division I. But 20 years ago, being 5'6", it wasn't too many 5'6" guys in the major league as far as representation. So it's like, oh, he got the skill, but he's undersized. The day that I graduated high school, we lost in the state semifinal 4. That's the same day I graduated high school. That's the same day I signed my national letter of intent to go to UC. And with everything that you just kind of spoke about with today's world, and, I had tunnel vision. I had friends, teammates, that was signed in the fall going to college, where they was going. Mm-hmm. And guys that were well deserving as long as, as well as I was, but, everybody's time is different. And it's also something my dad has always said is, what God has for you is for you. And knowing that, if somebody has something right now, doesn't mean that you might not get, yours might come at a different time. And, God's time, it never fails. But, that's something that I can remember being senior year of high school, great grades, and telling everybody, where you going to school? I don't know. Not from a standpoint of not wanting to go, but, I don't know if I'm going to JUCO route. I don't, you know what I mean? It's just.
But you still wanted to play ball.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. And, I was lined up to go to a JUCO, probably in Illinois, Wabash. But NKU, some schools came towards the last couple of weeks when we, progressed in the state tournament. But, UC ended up being good, great for me. And, definitely got me jump started to my professional career. But throughout those 13 years, like all throughout the minor leagues, I progressed really, really quickly. I was drafted in 2008. The average, I want to say, time spent in the minor leagues is around 5 to 6 years at the time. I made it to the major leagues in like 2.5, 3. So I was drafted in June of 2008 by the Cubs, traded to the Pirates in July of 2009, made my debut in May of 2011. Like I was a year and a half into the organization, not knowing, you know, the GM, the president, all I know is the minor league people. Playing through all that, and then I get to signing my contract year, 2015. Like I just had my first All-Star year in 14. 2015, after opening day in Cincinnati, I signed a 4-year contract extension. Gets announced here in Cincinnati. And for the next 4 years, I spent at least 6 weeks on the injured list. Broken hands, torn ligament in my thumb, full groin. So I say that to say, God's timing doesn't fail, but at least I didn't get my injuries till I got to the major leagues. Like, you know what I mean?
Till after you got the contract.
and not really laughing, but I take that from a personal standpoint. My older brother Vince, who I saw get affected from back-to-back years in the minor leagues, AA, AAA, being right on the brink of the major leagues, tearing a quad, breaking a wrist, eventually not getting that opportunity. So I got to see it firsthand because my senior year, he came back with the broken wrist and helped me get from my senior year to my freshman year of college. So, it kind of came full circle. And, but having to go through that, it wasn't easy because, here I am signing a contract to play a sport I love for, a team that I was excited to play with my boys. And for 4 straight years, I was 6 weeks at a time just watching my guys play and having to come back from, screwing my thumb, a tendon being taken out of my hamstring, 2 broken hands in a matter of, 6 months, a pulled groin, and all things that my dad said, man, you ever take a look back to realize that you played 13 years with all that, and there's been guys that have had 1 injury and never made it back. And I'm like, that's definitely a blessing. Going through it, you don't ever sit to think about it. But when you're able to reflect, I was able to be like, as you say, those setbacks, you're going to have some, but, definitely came out on the other side, because my last 3 or 4 years after that, a lot of people are like, man, you look different. I was like, man, I'm healthy. And that's a lot of sports, is if you're healthy, you can produce. And a lot of us play through things that otherwise we probably shouldn't. But, your window for opportunity to play sports at a high level sometimes is just small. So sometimes you make decisions that might not be for the best, but at the same time, those are decisions that, guys in your situation will be faced with. And it's unfortunate, but, some guys make it, some don't. And, I'm very fortunate.
Well, bro, listen, I know firsthand from playing at a small level that the amount of dedication that you have to even make it to the major leagues is massive, right? You don't get there by accident, right? Tons of blood, sweat, and tears. Forget about the injuries, but you made it there. I got a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
So this was 2011 when you were called up, and then it's 2015 when you signed your first contract. What does that mean for me and for the listeners that don't really know how major league or minor league and then major league baseball contracts work?
So once you get called up to the major leagues, you're put on a 25, well, now it's a 26-man roster. Anytime you're in the major leagues, your contract is pretty much league minimum, or if the team wants to pay you a little bit more than league. Every organization is different, but you're at the mercy of the team paying whatever they feel you're worth until you're able to hit arbitration. And arbitration means that you can literally, have a 1-year contractual agreement based off of they can no longer tell you this is what they're going to pay you. If they say they want to pay you this amount and you think you're worth this, y'all either meet in the middle or you'll go to an arbitrator and they'll say, oh, no, we agree with this side or that side. But you don't get a chance to negotiate a 1-year contract or arbitration until you have 3 full service years of Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Or what they call a Super 2. And a Super 2 is somebody that could be considered, there will be a cutoff, meaning you got 2 years and 100-something days. Every year it changes based off kind of like a prorated, meaning, there's a couple guys that didn't get full 3 years, but they got more than 2.5. So the cutoff this year, if you got 2 years and 140 days, you are arbitration eligible, meaning you can negotiate 1-year contracts for the next 3 years. And after that, you hit free agency.
Okay.
So when it's a problem. You literally got to play 3 to 4 years, and playing 3 to 4 years mean you have to be up for 3 to 4 years. When I got caught up in 2011, I got caught up in May, and baseball there's something called an option where you can be sent between the minor leagues and the major leagues. And for 1 year, you can be sent up and down as many times as they like. You get 3 options for your career. So if you get option 1 year, they can send you up and down every other day, and that's just one option. The next year, you'll use the next option if they choose to. Typically, it's like a way of controlling the roster where, okay, injuries, roster, okay, we got to go on the road. We got this, we can pull up guys, push down guys. It's a pitcher that went down, just a lot of ways that you can change your roster based off of who has options, who doesn't. This guy threw a lot. We got to put him on the injured list, who can come up. And it's a lot of confusing things. But once you're arbitration eligible, that's kind of when it's like, okay, I've stuck in the league for, around 3 years. I'm considered somebody that, can negotiate their own contract. But they can also decide to do a long-term contract where they buy out your arbitration years. And if they choose to, y'all can settle. And you can also, that's where you're seeing guys signing 10-year deals that are, what does that mean? Okay, the first 3 years mean, they just bought his first 3 years of arbitration, meaning they don't even have to settle. They kind of agree, like, okay, we'll make X amount. Now, when you get into free agency years, that's where you get into the whole CBA, where it's the comparables of, Shohei is worth this. Well, it ain't too many Shohei Ohtani, so he's going to be in the tier of his own. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But most sports, you're going to have a lot of people in the same kind of tier to where you can negotiate contracts. But it's tough. You got to play 3 to 4 years before you can negotiate one. And
so I'm already seeing like this conversation, we about to be up and down, just like we talked about, because normally we talk about the highs and we talk about the setbacks and we come back, but there's so many of these, it sounds like. Yeah. I mean, so
a lot.
Because that 3 years in the bigs, plus you said, most people, it's maybe 5-6 years in the minors. For you, it was 3. So that was 6 years for you.
Yeah.
5.5, 6 years for you. I gotta know, because I've seen baseball movies, but I don't know how real they are. I was told that there is a massive difference between what's going on in the minor leagues and the major leagues in terms of pay, in terms of how you travel, and all those other things. Am I correct?
You are. And okay. It is 2025. I'm gonna have to look it up, but I want to say as of around like 2022. The minor leagues officially got their own union, and Major League Baseball was able to help with that. So now pay has gotten a little bit better. When I was in the minor leagues, we had to find our own housing. We had to pay for it. Now housing is paid for. I think, they make sure that you got guys coming from all over the world. You send them to these small towns and it's like, where do they live? So now there's things in place that wasn't in place when they got all their meals paid for. Man, we used to have to pay dues like $8 a day for these people to wash our uniforms and stuff. And it's like, man, we ain't making that much money. But on top of that, they giving peanut butter and jelly. And man, it's $13 a day. I'm making less than minimum wage.
If you don't,
and I got to pay for a place. No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you don't want to answer, don't answer. But what kind of money is it that you're earning in the minor leagues like that?
Now it's different. But when I played in the minor leagues, you earn less than minimum wage. You're 6 months out the year, you're getting $1,100 every 2 weeks. You got to pay $13 a day dues. That's on the road. That's at home. Not to mention wherever you stand at home, you have to pay for an apartment, and you're not paying for them by yourself. You're staying with a teammate or something. And I played with Latin teammates from, Dominica, Puerto Rico, whether they're from Venezuela. They would stay sometimes 6 to an apartment, because it's like, bro, they sending their money back to their family, but they making $1,100 a week. How do you know what I mean? So it was a lot of you scrambling. That's why a lot of guys will have off-season jobs.
That's less than 50 a year.
Yeah, and I'm playing with dudes that were married with multiple kids. I was in AAA playing with dudes that were 28, 29, married with their wife and kid there, and I'm like, man, that's they had a little bit of big league time, so obviously it would be prorated, but the vast majority of us were. Hey, we was rooming up.
And you weren't married yet, but
Brittany was
going through all that with you.
No, and she was visiting me, so I had to make sure, my teammates who I was with, whoever, your girlfriend, our girlfriends know each other, because I ain't on nothing, you ain't on nothing, but just know that whoever I'm staying with, like, we gonna have to keep the place clean. My girl coming, like, I'm not about to be like, I can't be staying in the hood, like, but everywhere you go, where do we stay? And most guys were like, man, I don't know. You relying on the people in the neighborhood, the boosters, the minor league facility. But now they have all that set up to where, oh, you going to play in, Beloit, Wisconsin. There's I'm just throwing out random cities
that doesn't even sound like a real place. I apologize if any of y'all out there are from.
No, but like Beloit is a place, like, Burlington, Iowa, Peoria, Illinois. Like, these are places where it's like, okay, but where do people stay? How do they get to the field? Oh, did you ship your car? You know what I mean? These are other things. I was in Peoria, had my car. I got called up to Daytona. I think my mom or dad, somebody had to drive to Peoria to get my car to drive it back because I wasn't about to pay $1,000 to ship it. I was in the minor leagues. Like, you know what I mean?
What you're saying is clearly that it's not that glamorous, right? But you do that because you have a dream, right? You're driven. You want to make it to the big leagues. 6 years of doing that to get there.
You playing a game that you love. And, the opportunity to, you've seen glimpses of the major leagues. And when people tell you about it, it's like, oh man, I got to get there, And, truth be told, I think only 10% that get drafted or ever make it.
I was going to say, like you said, you've been doing that for a long time and realize it's over.
And then 10% of that make it, only 10% of that get 10 years.
Wow. That's interesting perspective on it. I said,
it was a lot of guys making less than minimum wage trying, and some guys made it, some didn't. And I'm glad to see that things have definitely trended upwards for these guys. Cause as I said, I was blessed. I was fortunate. 2.5 to 3 years, was very quick for me. That's not to say when I made it to the big leagues in 2011 that I didn't get sent down. 2013, I was actually sent up and down 5 times before July. But, putting apartments in and out of your name. Oh man, I just got called up. Somebody got to take over the lease. So I got sent down. It's like, man, I just got to Pittsburgh and I just got this apartment, but now y'all just sent me down. I done signed into a 6-month lease. I ain't making, and just a lot, you know what I mean? A lot of uncertain things that you don't know. And then.
What's that like, man? What mentally, what's that like? The up and down? Clearly it's hard, but how do you stay focused on getting back to the big leagues once you get sit down?
Everybody's different. One, I had an uncle that played 11 years major leagues, coached for 40. And while I was with the Pirates, he was actually the outfield coach for the Brewers. So every time we played Milwaukee, I got to see my uncle. And I remember one time telling him, this was my early part of my career. Like, I'm in the big leagues. I'm not playing. Like, I'm sitting the bench. And I've never sat the bench all through the minor leagues. I'm playing, but I get it. I get called up. Like, I get it. I'm not the guy that's starting, but like, man, if I'm here, like, play me. And I remember telling my uncle, like, I'm like, what I got to do? Like, he's like, I'll tell you this. You'd rather be the 25th man on the bench because you want to play away from happening being down in AAA. He's like, I know you want to be in AAA playing, but you done already did that. They know what you can do. Like, you've been playing. You be here, you be ready. Don't give them a reason to say that you're not working hard, a reason. You know what I mean? All the things that I needed to hear, because I'm like, no, which I wasn't doing anything, but it's, the frustration piece of like, oh, I want to play. Like, not that I'm comparing myself, but I'm like, I know I can help this team. Like, this dude need a break. Put me in there for a day. I can spell these guys, but he's just like, just stay ready. And it took me 3 years before I got my first chance to ever play. My first All-Star year, I didn't even start the season as a starter. It took me till like Easter to get my first start that year.
So stay ready.
Yeah.
I like that. We say that a lot, but it's true, right? You got to stay ready. So tell me, your first All-Star year was
2014.
So the year before you got the contract.
No. So I was up in 11. I was up all year in 2012. Come to spring training in 2013. Every year I had to make the team. Like, no matter 25th man, last man to make the team for my first 3 spring trainings. And 2013, they signed 2 veterans that, some teams sign veterans to hope that it's going to be a stopgap to help with the team. And they end up getting injured, early in spring training, which they think helped me make the team. Cause obviously I knew they had $1 million, more money invested in them than me at the time. Cause I was making league minimum. So, if you go out and sign a veteran piece for, even if it's $1 million, you invested $1 million as opposed to $500,000. So we gonna go, which I understood, but I'm like, they know what I do. One way or another, I'm gonna force my hand. In 2013, I can't make this up. I was called up and down 5 times before July. I mean, one time I went up for 1 day and they sent me right back down. And it's like, man, I was the starting in 2013. I played shortstop so much. I was the All-Star game starting shortstop for AAA, but I didn't get to play in it because by the time July came, they called me up. And I pretty much spent the rest of that year on the bench too. I can't make it up. And then 2014, I spent the first 2-3 weeks on the bench. Easter Sunday, I get 2 hits. We got a brawl on Easter Sunday, bench is clear. Hey, in the middle of the brawl, like in the middle of the bench is clear. And I'm like, hey, y'all, man, this is my first start, man. I got 2 hits, man. Let's start the game back up. Come back the next day, I'm not playing. And a couple weeks down later, somebody gets hurt. They put me in and never look back. And by the time July came, and hey, my brother Vince, I remember this is another moment where, I'm frustrated. I remember calling him those first 3 weeks of the season where I'm not playing. His exact words were like, man, just give it to the end of the year. I guarantee we'd be laughing. All-Star comes up and he's out in, I think, Oregon. All-Star selection Sunday before it's announced. They tell us in the locker room that me, Andrew McCutcheon, and Tony Watson, and I call V, hey, it's probably like 10 a.m. out in Port. Hey, what's good, bro? Y'all game about to start, ain't it? I'm like, yeah, but remember when you said we was going to be laughing at the end of the year? We ain't even got to wait till the end of the year. Like, we can laugh now, man. I just got named the All-Star. And he was like, what? Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Obviously, he wasn't able to make it because he was coaching. But, even him telling me that the first couple, hey, I got a feeling we're going to be laughing by the end of the year. Just stay ready. Like, told you, you know what I mean? You built for this. You don't work for, you know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where I was able, got my opportunity to never look back and was able to say, hey, we ain't got to wait till the end of the year. And obviously going through my arbitration process in the offseason, I had went into it. They had offered me a long-term deal. I turned the first one down because I was prepared to go to arbitration year to year. They literally offered me.
You gonna tell me why?
So I can, and these are things where I remember the first deal they offered, my agent was like, it's not a good deal, but we work for you. If you want to take it, by all means, it's more money than I ever seen in my life. I'm like, but if I say no, they ain't gonna come back. And he's like, they approached us. We never want to accept the first offer because one, we didn't go to them. They came to us.
Right.
So we countered and they go, no, you guys are far off. Like, this is what we're thinking. They're going back and forth. And it's like, and I remember the first one, they go, you guys got 24 hours to respond. Me and my wife, I'm like, 24 hours? I call my uncle. And he's like, they came to you. First, if you get a first one, you're going to get a second one. He said, if you feel comfortable, accept it. But if not, know that, it's something you got to do, live with the decision that you turned it down. But, they came to you, and I'm a firm believer in telling guys that first contract, when they come to you, you should entertain it. Because if you get one now, you're going to get another one, barring that you're healthy, yada, yada. And, prayed on it with my wife, and I ended up declining because I said, I didn't like the 24-hour deadline. It felt like it put pressure on me.
Yeah.
And, for as long as I've ever played sports and everything, I never played the game fearful. And, they put fear. Oh, what if he doesn't have as good of a year? What if he gets injured? They throw all that out. He's not going to be worth the same. What if last year was the fluke? And that ain't nothing to fluke over this. That in my eyes, but I understand how they can place that fear. Dang, you know what? Hey, the guys do get hurt. Like, hey, what if I do get hurt next year and I turn this down? Like, all of that plays. But, me and my wife, I just remember telling her that after we prayed, and she was like, all right. And we end up going through arbitration. And I think I was one of the you have a deadline to have it in by a certain date at a certain time, or it goes to the process where you got to go in front of an arbitrator and they side with one side. And I remember we ended up settling at $2.8 million for 1 year. I go from making like $550,000. I just had that all-star year, platform year, going into free agent, or not my first arbitration. So comparables, I remember the first number that we both filed at, we were like $1.2 million away, like off. They filed at like 2, we said 3.4. And they're like, you guys are way off. And my agents are like, don't go under 3. And I'm like, all right, if y'all say not to go under 3, Because we're looking at what other guys have signed for pre-arbitration, similar to me. Like, yeah, this dude just signed for 2.2 and your numbers are better than his. This dude signed for this, your numbers are better than his for your 3 years. So like, whatever they're coming at 2.0. And at the end, when we agreed at 2.8, I think they had even told my agents that they didn't think that they were going to come up that high. But I remember it was the deadline and we weren't going under 3. They came up to 2.8 and I told my agents, I said, I'm not going a quarter over 200,000 because even if I win, I'm going to have to pay some to the arbitrators. I was like, this is more money than I've ever made. And I came into this prepared for arbitration. I'm ready to go to work. And we settled, get to spring training. The last week of spring training, the GM calls me in the office. And I don't talk contract stuff because that's between you and my agent. But of course, I'm involved in anything that they may know or some hard hitting stuff. And he goes, man, I thought we had some traction, like I thought there was mutual interest. And I said, there is mutual interest. Like, I would love to be here. We just made the playoffs. My guys here, my family, like this is a special place to be. I would love to be here. I said, I just want to be treated fair. I said, but whatever y'all talk, that's between you and my agent. And these were I remember I said, I'm not asking for 100 million. I mean, if you want to give it to me, I'll take it. He started laughing. But I was like, no, in honesty, I said, I'm not going to get into numbers. That's between y'all. But I said, I just want to be treated fairly. And on the flight home from spring training, we were working out a contract deal. I had to play opening day. I had already agreed to my contract. Nobody knew but me, my wife, my family. I had to play opening day with Cincinnati against Cincinnati. The next morning, 6 a.m., they had a car pick me up at my house. It's raining. There were no straight flights to Pittsburgh. They had a car pick me up at 6 a.m, drive me to Pittsburgh, to the hospital to see our team doctor that I just saw a week ago in spring training who cleared me. I had to do my contract physical and the car drove me back home. The next day we get to the field, we announced a press conference of me signing my contract extension.
Yeah, buddy.
But it went from, so when I said I turned it down, it was, through prayer, knowing that I didn't play this game fearful. I don't want them to put that, play that make me make a decision based off of that, and it ended up working out.
Now, somebody was listening when you said that and said, he did what?
I mean, and I'll be honest, I was honestly comfortable going year to year through my 3 years of arbitration just because I said I'd have made it this far, believing in myself. I never played this game for anybody other than what I do. And what you say ain't going to change how I play. And, thank God I signed that contract because it was July, right before my birthday, 2015. Stole second, tore my UCL, had surgery, was out for 6 weeks, came back in August to help us get to the playoffs in the postseason, and then come back the next year. And I mean, I was still dealing with that, but it was like that following year, I missed the last month with a pull growing. In 2017, I lasted till the last month of September, and it was my second All-Star year, and I broke my hand on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball in September that knocked me out. And then 2018, Jackie Robinson Day, third week of the season, another 96-mile-an-hour fastball, broke my hand. So I missed another 6 weeks in 18. So 15 through 18 was at least 6 weeks on the injury list every year.
All right, Kings, if you're hearing this, there's still time to lock in your spot for the VIP Comeback Experience Sweepstakes. If you hadn't heard, the Comeback Kings movement is on a mission, and that mission is to raise the standard of men worldwide, helping you rise from adversity, rebuild with purpose, and reign with strength through emotional intelligence, healing, and growth. And now's your chance to be a part of it. Head over to cbknetwork.com and enter for a shot at the ultimate VIP comeback experience. Airfare and hotel for two to any event, a CBK merchant style package, a podcast spotlight, Renegade TV access for 1 year, and more. Over $4,600 in value, and we're just getting started, baby. Don't miss it. Visit cbknetwork.com and join the movement today. As you were mentioning earlier, when they look at doing contracts, they're always looking at the negative, the pessimism, like, oh, what if he gets hurt? What if he's not the same as he was before? That all happened. It all came to fruition.
Literally,
yes, right?
Yes.
So thank God that you got the contract.
Me. No, yes, I was covered. I was protected.
Yeah. The question I want to know about that is, and I don't remember social media in 15 to 18 or what have you, but I know it was going, right?
Oh, yeah.
Facebook,
Twitter, Instagram. Not like now, but it was out there.
Well, I know you felt horrible because you couldn't play the game that you loved. I know there was something deep inside of you that felt like you were kind of like man, I got this money, but I can't play, and you felt some kind of way about that. Were you getting any outside noise or pressure or people kind of turning on you or anything like that? Or
No, nobody turned on me. Because Pittsburgh is very similar to Cincinnati as far as a sports. Like, man, people that play the game hard, they love. Like, you know what I mean? Like, man, you play the game the right way, you play with energy, the city literally will love you. Even if you produce. Like, no, I ain't saying you just gotta play hard and play with energy. And no, you can't be trash. but you can be decent, but if you play the right way, you're a good team player, good role player, like people gonna support you. So like the whole time that I was down, you know, people from Pittsburgh, like, hey, we need your energy. We want you, you know what I mean? So like that stuff always felt good because Pittsburgh took a liking to me from the minute that I came in. And it was just like, you know, I was me, but, you know, just my parents, my kids grew up there. You know, my wife, Britt, could feel the energy. Like people, if I wasn't out there, hey, Jay, hey, we're missing you. We need you. So like every injury I had, with the exception of my torn hamstring in 19, I made back on an earlier scale. If it was 6 to 8 weeks, I would have came back in 5 weeks, which I probably wasn't 100%, which goes to things that I said earlier. Sometimes you come back from things earlier than you probably should have, vice versa. But, you know, that's how you live and you learn. But yeah, with the exception of my hamstring, all of those other ones, I was back. If it was 6 to 8 weeks, I was back. Broken hand, I was back in 5 weeks. Hand wasn't even fully, you know, it wasn't, you know, couldn't be broken, but it was like, oh, I don't have my full hamstring, but I know my presence out there boosted the team. Also, shoot, I'm playing off pure adrenaline. Like, you know what I mean? Hey, I think I had the longest from when I tore my UCL and my thumb. I think I had the longest stretch of at-bats between 2015 and 16 between home runs. Like that offseason, I couldn't put more than 35 pounds in my hand.
And see, the real world doesn't even know that stuff that's going on behind the scenes, right? You're struggling just so that you can get out there. I love that, man. This is eye-opening for me, to be honest with you, because it is so easy now to talk about athletes when they're doing something, when they're hurt or whatever. You know, we got Joe Burrow, he's always hurt. And it's like, you don't see what these guys really are dealing with and why they're worth every penny of the contracts that they fight for. Because this is not like corporate America where you be in it for 20, 30 years, right? You know, you have a window of time that who knows, you know, God willing, it's going to be a long time, but sometimes it's a short amount of time. For you, that's a pretty awesome career at 13 years. Let's wrap up by talking about the downside of that. So you retired last year, so 2024.
Actually, just officially retired like this past May. Like I didn't play last year. I went to spring training with the Reds. Okay. But I was still in spring training. So that was still what I'm considering. I prepared to play that year. You know, I missed time.
So what happened? Like what made you say it's a wrap?
So when I signed with the Reds last year, it was a minor league deal, meaning I had to make a team out of camp, or they wanted to send me to AAA. And that team needed help last year.
Yeah, they did.
You know, injuries. And I go to camp. I'm like, man, I can bounce around. They need a vet presence. I'm like, shoot, I could be at home. 81 games, still see more, you know, like, why wouldn't I? But I went into it with the mindset, telling myself, I'd even told my wife, one way or another, I'm coming home. I'm coming home playing for the Reds, or I'm coming home because I ain't going to AAA. I got nothing left to prove to anybody. Granted, I know I could go down to AAA and play for a couple weeks, but I don't need to do that. That meant nothing to me because those 3 weeks is 3 weeks away from my family. And guess what? Within those 3 weeks, I'm in the minor leagues, which is not the same thing as the major leagues where you got multiple trainers on hand. I spent 13 years in the major leagues where you got multiple hot tubs, cold tubs, different trainers. You know, you build relationships with, okay, this is our physical therapist, but this is our, you know, dry needle. Like there's different things. Mm-hmm. With my injuries, I had an extensive list of stuff that I had to do. And being in the minor leagues is not beneficial for me after 13 years because you don't have the equipment to keep me on the field. I learned how to do a lot of stuff on my own just out of maintenance because whatever they can't do, I got to make sure I do on my own. So when they were like, man, we had, you know, injury, we got to go get a center fielder. Well, hey, I didn't say it to them. Y'all need me more than I need y'all. You know, like, hey, I'm a phone call away, but y'all need me more than I need y'all. I got a wife and kids that, trust me, when this is over, that's where I'm headed, you know? And it was easy for me to walk away because one, Hey, I got my 10 years in. Um, Baseball one is only 6% black. And then, I look at that as a double anomaly, being part of the 6%, but then I'm part of the 10% to play 10 years. Um, I'm curious as to how many of the 10% is black that got 10 years. That's a double anomaly. Something that I've still been trying to figure out. I even asked my uncle a couple weeks ago, and he was like, "Man, that's a good question." Because it's already an anomaly being part of the 6%, but being part of that 6% to make 10 years is also something that, when it was time to walk away, I've done more in this game than y'all probably would have given me credit for somebody that looked like me. I wasn't supposed to play 13 years. Not in their eyes. I was in mine. So for me walking away, no, when I've had conversations with my daughter, my oldest daughter 3 years ago, Daddy, I'm so tired of my friends thinking it's cool you play because they never realize you're never home. You know what? You're right. But I said, Daddy gets to do something special that a lot of people don't, that you will understand as you get older. But these are the sacrifices that a lot of athletes make that, when your kids can start having those conversations with you, obviously it makes you, raise an eyebrow. I wasn't going to quit for my kids, but, my wife and kids are always going to be involved in every decision I made. So when I told her, hey, it's a great opportunity because I know the city will be rocking if I'm rocking the Reds uniform, but if not, I'm at peace. I think I was more at peace than a lot of people were just because the idea of it, which of course, yeah, the idea of it's cool, but, I always say, thing that my dad told me, what God has for me is for me. And that just wasn't in the plans for me to play for the Reds. So I was always at peace with it.
Brother, you are correct, man. You defied the odds pretty much from coming out of high school, undersized, right? And everything that you did along the way. And of course, you put the city on your back, and everybody wanted to say, "Oh, I know Jay Hay." I know Jay Hay. And
but what a lot of people don't realize, I'm the youngest of three. I'm observant. We didn't even hit on it for real, but you talk about you, VA, like I've even told this story, not with your name in it, but obviously with my brother, both of my brothers, because obviously you fall into that because you can attest. I was the annoying little brother. I was the ball boy for every team. Think about it. Y'all were playing varsity basketball. Coach Drew and Blank was the coach. Man, I was in a locker room with y'all. I would pass y'all the ball coming out. I'm giving y'all Gatorade. Bro, football, I'm the ball boy on the side. My brother, you know what I'm saying? So like, y'all don't realize all those moments that y'all let. Think about it. Y'all coming to the crib. Hey, Jay, hey, go make that Kool-Aid. You make it the best. Yeah, I'm just trying to kick it with y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? So in those moments, I tell everybody, like, I was just that beneficiary, being the youngest of three that had two older brothers that played sports on good teams, and them and their friends just allowed me to be that sponge. You know what I mean?
I was a bunch of adopted brothers too.
Yes.
That's right.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was undersized my whole life, but I never played it because I said, it ain't nothing that my peers can do that Princeton basketball. What you mean? They done threw me into the equipment hamp, like what?
Hey, wait, hold on now, man. Listen, don't be telling lies on the podcast, man. We didn't do that.
Yeah, I might have fabricated that one a little bit. But like, all that stuff builds character, builds, for younger siblings, they aspire to be their older sibling. You got a younger brother, same age as my middle brother. Y'all, Sean and him, Brandon play basketball together. Like, you know what I mean? So it wasn't just you and VA. They play for Evendale. I'm literally, hey, tag along. Hey, y'all go at halftime during Coach Drew and Coach Blake talking to y'all? No, I'm out at halftime putting up shots. That's when you could pay $1. If you made the shot, they gave you $2. I used to come out of halftime with $10, go get me Skittles and Starburst, and then come back and pass y'all Gatorade. I can't make it. I get that $1, shoot a 3, give me my $2, give you another $1. Hey, I was out there for 6 minutes while y'all was inside. My dad used to have it on video.
We gotta call up Big Vince to see we gotta see the footage on that one.
I did it at Hamilton too. Hey, Hamilton, Big Blue. Hey, I was up in the bleachers. I wasn't even ball boy this game. Pastor, you want to go down and shoot? Yeah, let me get $2. Just in case I miss one. Gotta get. I think I walked out of there with like $8. The gym was going crazy. But that's because y'all let me be at y'all practice. But y'all really was pushing me though.
Since we've been speaking, I see obviously a lot of Jay Hay. I see Shay Hay. I see V Hay. And I see your dad. all coming out of you, different things. And man, I'm just so proud of you, man. This is the first time that I've even had a chance to say this. And I saw you the other day, right? But I'm so proud of what you became. I'm so proud of the fact that everything that you were doing, you never lost focus of what the priorities were, right? You talk about, hey, my family's at home and what you need to do for them and what's the most important thing with them. I remember you said, baseball doesn't define me. And I think that is so powerful for people to hear. A lot of times when people leave, whether they've been famous in one aspect of things or whether they've been an athlete or whatever, they lose their identity after it's over. And it seems like for you, brother, it's just beginning. And I'm so excited for you for that. I'm so excited that the family has you back home. If you could, Jay, for anybody, whether this is a sports aspiration that they have or they're just trying to figure out, what defines them, can you give us a couple of words of wisdom as we get out of here today?
Yeah. One thing I even said it in like my retirement post, and this can apply to sports. It can apply to you, whatever you're aspiring to be. Especially in today's society with, social media. One, don't let anybody put limitations on you, because a lot of the things that people expect are other people's expectations, and I never set out to prove anybody wrong. All I did was set to prove myself right. I had a list of thoughts, whether it was, I knew what I was capable of every day, so when my career was all said and done, was I surprised? No, because these are all things that I expected of myself. I remember I got asked, was it a surprise to you, when you got named an all-star? I said, no, I've been an all-star my whole life. I've been all-star at every level in the minor league. So why couldn't I be one of the major leagues? And then I backed it up by a second one. You got to be healthy, but at the same time, I didn't let anybody's expectations or, what they thought of me limit or how I feel. Everything came from within. It's easier said than done. But, if you really got that tunnel vision, got the blinders on, know that, God's timing is for you is going to be different for everybody else's. And, I didn't grow up in comparison mode. I could have easily grew up in comparison mode with my two brothers, but we were never like that. I just was a sponge and was like, whatever I can take from them, I'm going to be a blend of both of them because they are some dogs. But, I was going to do it my way. I wasn't going to do it Vince's way. I wasn't going to do it Sean's way. I was going to do it my way, but it was going to be a blend of what I saw because, somebody, hey, man, you should have got 100 on that test. Well, were you doing a problem with them? Like, you can expect it, but that's where we get in trouble, listening to outside voices. So my little nugget is to, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and don't live up to anybody's limits or expectations except for yours.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I appreciate you coming to hang out with us for a little bit. Tell people where they can connect with you online if you are online.
All right, so I'm not that active online, but
Okay.
I am on Twitter. It's JHay _the man, JHay JHAY _DA_MAN.
Okay.
I don't
Now,
I don't
that's
I
your
don't have an
burner, or
Instagram.
that's the real one?
That's the real one. I don't have a burner.
Oh, okay.
You'll see a lot of my tweets is either a happy birthday to my wife or my kids, my brothers or my parents, or talking about the Harrisons for Hope Foundation that me and my wife have, some of our various golf events that we've had over the couple of years. But you won't see much other than that. And then I don't have an Instagram. My wife posts me as IG-less Josh. So Twitter's going to be your best bet.
Well, hopefully they can catch you inside the Comeback Kings app as well. And I'd love for you to share some information in there about the foundation
please.
as well.
I would love to.
Absolutely, man. Well, folks, there you have it. 13-year Major League Baseball All-Star, Mr. Josh Harrison, man. Thank you. Two times on one time. I like it. So glad to have you guys. Until next time, remember, your setbacks don't define you. Your comeback will. Peace. That does it for another episode of the Comeback Kings podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, leave us a review, and come join the after party inside the app at cbknetwork.com. And remember, your past doesn't define you. Your comeback will.